Welcome.
Thank you. A show of hands, please. How many people here use LinkedIn every day? Just so I understand, every single day. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. And how many people here use LinkedIn just once a week? Oh, it's about 6, 7. And how many people here don't know how to use LinkedIn and that's why you're here to learn more? Okay, quite a few of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My only request, I only have one request. Please take notes. If you want to become better at LinkedIn, you won't become better what? You'll become better by writing notes and then taking action. So please, 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 please take action. Don't just nod and go, that was good, and go on to your next session. That is how you'll get better at LinkedIn. Okay? So, Karen Brady. Has anybody here seen the TV show, The Apprentice, or heard of the TV show, The Apprentice? Brilliant. Okay, so in England, The Apprentice is a very popular show. And Karen Brady is a very big speaker, one of the most successful businesswomen in England. And I met her 4 years ago. I was setting up my business, and I was struggling. And she gave a beautiful talk about entrepreneurship, and she was very eloquent. And afterwards she said, does anybody have any questions? And the room was silent. Nobody wanted to be the first person to speak. So I raised my hand really slowly and said, Karen, hi. I want to have more time with my family, and I want less stress in my life. So I set up my own business. And everybody burst out laughing by mistake. Because if you want less stress in life and more family time, you do not set a business up. And I said to her, I'm really struggling on running a business here. I don't really know what I'm doing. I've got all this experience working in the corporate world, all this experience with a best-selling book, but I have no clients. What am I supposed to do? And she gave me her answer. It was a lovely answer. And then afterwards, as she was leaving, she approached me. And Karen said to me, I love that question you asked. It was very smart. Not many people ask great questions. Do you have a business card? We are looking for a sales trainer at West Ham Football Club. This is amazing. This is one of the most successful businesswomen in the UK wanting my details because I asked her a question. And I gave my business card, and she goes, I will call you on Monday morning. And it's been 4 years, and she still hasn't called me. Okay? I have tried everything. I've spoken to her assistant, Natalie, 6 months, nothing at all. But the reason this is important is because afterwards, 2 things happened. Lots of people in the room approached me and said, thank you for asking that question. So when you ask questions, you help other people in this room who are a bit shy. And the second thing is, if we run out of time, which I guarantee we will, come and speak to me afterwards, or I'm here all day Friday, you can speak to me then. Okay? So, selling on LinkedIn, there's 3 things you have to do. Optimize your profile, write engaging content, and develop different ways of selling. That's what we're going to learn by the end of today. Now, very briefly, why me? This is the least important part of this, but I have to tell you why I'm doing this. 25 years in sales is a big reason. Being a Salesforce influencer, but the main one was last November. LinkedIn gave an award to 10 people in the world in sales. 2 were based in Europe, and I was lucky to be one of them. And you'll find out why at the end of this I did that. And if you want to take pictures of the slides, by the way, I don't mind. I have got some links to the slides as well, so hopefully you'll get copies of the slides afterwards. I don't mind, because I put lots of links to articles you'll find very helpful. So, why LinkedIn? LinkedIn, this is where your customers are. But it's also where your future customers are, and that's very important. It's where your customers are, and it's where your future customers are, and it's also where your network is. One of the best ways of doing business is through relationships, and you do that through LinkedIn. I'm going to show you today how to go about doing that. So this is your typical customer in the yachting world. They are stressed, they are tired, they spend all day on their phone, on email, in meetings, sometimes meetings about meetings. It's incredible how busy they are. So you really have to work hard to get their attention. This is very important. LinkedIn, like social media, is getting people's attention. So how do you do that? Well, you have to optimize your profile, you have to write engaging content, and then you really have to understand the sales process. It's not just one thing, it's not just two things, it's all three things. So how do you optimize your profile? Well, working from top to bottom, have a banner that is easy to understand and makes sense. So this is very clear. Make it very clear what you do, okay? Make it really simple. Have your contact details here that people can contact you on. Because your clients are stressed. They haven't got time to wonder what it is you do. They're not going to look you up on Google to find a better answer. They want to know from you what it is you do. So keep it simple, always. My business changed last year, and all my clients' business changed last year when I started doing this. So have a good look at what your competition are doing and stand out from the crowd. This is so important. How many people here today were at Andy Preston's brilliant talk this morning? Okay. Obviously, you were too, Andy, yeah. So he spoke about excellence, and he spoke about standing out. This is something I talk about a lot, because everybody is fighting for the same business. And if you want to stand out, that is going to make a big difference in your business. So always think about standing out in everything you do. Now, the only difficult part of a LinkedIn profile is your About section. That will take about 20, 25 minutes to get it right. And the About section has to be clean, it has to be easy to read, and it has to be simple. Don't say you're a people person. Don't say you're passionate about what you do. Everybody says that. Think of what you can say that nobody else is saying. And again, nobody has this opening line on LinkedIn that I know about, okay? And it's easy to read. You can use emojis, by the way. I found that since using emojis, I get more engagement on my posts. Now, a key part of business, this has happened a lot in the last 2 years on LinkedIn, especially in the last year. People want to know more about who you are personally, not just who you are on a business level. So don't just talk about what you do on a business level, talk about what you do personally. So not only am I talking about sales, I'm talking about things I do outside sales. Because when you bond with people, these are fantastic ways of doing it. Tell people what you do outside work. Because in business, people buy people. There's so much that has changed in business in the last 2 years. I mean, sales has changed more in the last 2 years than the last 20 years. But there's a few things that haven't changed. People buy people. And that will never change. So please keep that in mind. Now, I'm working from top to bottom. So underneath the banner and underneath your About section, you have a featured section. So any articles that you write, any posts that you do, any videos you shot, put them here for people to see. Now, most people on LinkedIn are going to look at your About section and they're going to look at your banner. Pretty much everybody is going to notice that first. So the featured section is there. It's free of charge. You might as well use it, okay? Beneath featured, you have activity. So every comment that you make, everybody can see. And that's very important because sometimes in business you get frustrated. Sometimes in business you get angry. Sometimes in business you say things you shouldn't say. It happens to everybody. People can see everything you say on LinkedIn. So please be careful with the language you use. Don't say to anybody on social media that you would not say to them in real life. That's very important. I have seen people who have been around for 20 years lose their business in 24 hours because they made inappropriate comments, used inappropriate language, lost their temper. Just be very careful because people can see every comment you make. Okay? Beneath that, you have experience. Now, you can name every job you've had. That's fine. People tend to look at this the most. But again, how do you help people? That's all anybody cares about. Not that you're an expert, not that you've won awards. What people care about the most is how are you going to help them? So in your experience section, tell people how are you going to help them. Volunteer experience. Now, in the yacht charter world, the bigger the company, the higher up you have to go. And sometimes you're speaking to people who are very senior. One of the best ways to communicate and bond with those people is talking about volunteer work, because most of these people have charities they support. Most of these companies have corporate social responsibility. And one of the best ways I find to communicate with people is talking about the charity work I do. As you can see, I'm doing Movember at the moment. I don't normally look this ridiculous. So I'm doing Movember right now, so make sure you have this section filled in. It's also good for you. It's good for your soul. But it's a great way to communicate with very senior people. They will just understand you. Now, on LinkedIn, people can see, they're called LinkedIn recommendations, but you can call them testimonials. Now, when you go on holiday, what do? You ask friends for recommendations, you ask family. You go onto TripAdvisor. When you buy from Amazon, what do? You look at Amazon reviews. Everybody wants social proof. And if you have a profile on LinkedIn, and no one said anything nice about you for 4 years or 5 years, people will question working with you. So make sure you tell people, let other people tell people how good you are. You saying you're good is okay, but other people saying you're good is so much better. And make sure you have your testimonials. They're very, very important. Have different kinds of testimonials as well. And again, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you can see all this information here, just in case you're missing anything today. Honors and awards. It's nice to have, but no one looks at it. But it's important I tell you it exists, okay? So any awards you've got, any honors you've got, go ahead and put them there. Any courses you've done, make sure you tell people as well, okay? Do not miss this guy. He's speaking on Friday at 9 o'clock. One of the best courses I've taken. And I'll explain more why. Interests. This is really important. So when you want to bond with people, when you want to sell to them, you can't just talk about your product. You have to talk about the other person. And one of the best ways of doing this is finding out who their interests are. Everybody is following somebody of interest. You can talk about the courses you've been on. You can talk about the books of theirs. You can talk about the interviews they've done. This is a wonderful way to connect with people. So make sure you're following good quality people. It's a wonderful way to connect with others. And notice the words I'm using here. I'm not talking about hard selling. I'm not talking about heavy automation. I am talking about being a human being. And I'm talking about connecting with people. This is what sales is in 2022 and going into 2023. It's a human-centric approach. So that is it. That is the first section. And this is something I hope all of you will start doing as of next week, okay? Whenever you're back at the office, is start changing your profile as soon as you can. Now, the second part of sales is writing engaging content. What does that mean, write engaging content? Well, there's 3 kinds of content you can write. The first is business. Now, business content is, like one example is a text-based post. So once a month, I will talk about all the wins and all the losses I've experienced. That is a good business post. I'm just going to give you loads of examples here, which you're all welcome to use anytime you want. Enter the conversation going on in your client's mind. What are your clients concerned about? What are they thinking about? What worries them the most right now? I know one of the biggest concerns my clients have is just sticking to the way things are and not making any change, because we're going to approach a very tough time now in the next 6 to 12 months in business. And a lot of people are going to be scared. And when people are scared, they often don't make decisions and they do nothing. So again, write about that. Talk about that. What are the consequences of people doing nothing? Why should people take action? The other thing, of course, you can do is tell personal stories. So, video. Video is the quickest way to build your authority on LinkedIn. Video needs to be about a minute long, 90 seconds, that's all. Now, how many people here are nervous? Because most people I speak to are very nervous about video. How many people here are nervous about video? Oh my God, most of this room. Okay. I would say that every single person who's raised their hand is younger than me by at least 10 years, okay? So you have no excuse not to use video, okay? I was very nervous about using video as well. But it's like anything. The first time you do it, it is terrifying. And when you watch yourself on video, it is horrible. It is the worst experience in the world, watching yourself on video. But video is how you build authority. Video is how you build credibility. And I did 1 video a week for 18 months. And that was one of the main ways I built my business. And it's the way my clients build their businesses. And by the way, the videos are often shot like this, or I'm being interviewed in a podcast or a LinkedIn Live. That's it. There's nothing fancy, no fancy software, no fancy setups, no expensive costs. It's very important you understand that. The only thing you do have to be aware is this here. 60% of people watch LinkedIn video with the sound off. So you need to have subtitles. Most people will watch video in public transport, in a coffee shop, in an office. A lot of people I know use LinkedIn at night time, and the kids are sleeping and they're watching videos, so the sound is always off. You have to have subtitles. So, you want to get good at video, practice, practice, practice. This is very important on every post you do. At the beginning, I showed you the picture of the person who was very stressed out. You've got to have a headline because it stops people scrolling by. People are just inundated with social media information. Slow it down and make life easy for them. If you want to think of great headlines, how to, lessons learned, 1, 3, 5s, and 7s are wonderful. So one way the auto charter industry is so important. 3 things we are doing in sustainability, in shipping, nobody else is doing. 5 ways to make this charter industry more interesting. 7 things you must never do. Do you see what I'm saying? 1, 3, 5s, and 7s are very important. And think about towards and think about aways. So I'm a positive person. I buy based on results. But 60% of people buy based on fear and missing out. So 7 things you must never do, that's fear. 5 things you must never miss out on, that's fear. 3 things you can learn, that's positive. So make sure you're varying positive and negative posts, because that's very important, because everybody buys differently. 60 to 90 seconds for a video. Now, in terms of subtitles, rev.com is the cheapest I've found, but Subtitle is what I use. It's about, I'm thinking in euros, but 12 euros a month. I use it. It's the most expensive, but it's really simple. I will always choose things that are simple. I don't care how much they cost. I want simple, okay? Because I'm not great with technology. If you're doing video and you're very nervous, and a lot of people are very nervous doing video, there are certain tricks and techniques I recommend. If you have a vision board, use your vision board. If you have a favorite song, listen to your favorite song over and over and over again. It just gets you in a fantastic mood. Look at family photographs. Look at pictures of your pets or your partners or your friends or holidays you've been on. And when you look into the camera, just imagine you're talking to your best friend. That is one of the best ways to shoot video. Because if you imagine you're talking to your best friend, your body language changes. You completely relax. You don't speak too fast. I can even feel myself speaking slower right now, thinking about speaking to my best friend. So these are things that are important. And lastly, write out what you want to say. Don't just make it up, not unless you're very experienced. The first 50 videos I did, I had to type the scripts up. Okay? Now I don't have to, but I've done about 200, so it's different. But at the very beginning, type things up. It'll just make life easier for you. Okay? And you've got 2 choices in life. You can say, I'm not going to do this, it's too difficult. Or you can do it, you can have success. It's up to you. I recommend the second option. It's always a better option. Okay? So that is video. Polls are another way of connecting with people on LinkedIn. So what is the biggest challenge right now in the yachting industry? Where do you think our industry is going in 2023? More global, more sustainable, more cost-cutting. There's a poll. There's so many different ways to understand how your audience is thinking, and polls is a great way of doing that. Book recommendations. Okay, everybody loves books. Anybody successful I know reads a lot of books. And book recommendation posts are very popular on LinkedIn. I do one every month for the last year. Every single month. I did one yesterday, in fact. So these are just books I talk about, and I get so much engagement, and I get people buying into me because successful people read books or listen to Audible or listen to podcasts or come to conferences like this to learn. If you haven't read this book, it is the best book you will ever read on LinkedIn. And there's the author there. It is a fantastic book. Both his books are brilliant, but that is the best one I've ever read. So I recommend you get it and study it because it's good. Okay. Another thing I do on LinkedIn, which again gets very good engagement and gets people to connect with you, is talking about your charity work. Charity work is really important. Now, this is an important cause. I do it every year. I raise money for cancer units because, again, I talk about it. People connect with you. People buy into you. Networking. So, again, these are all post ideas. You should be meeting people here today. I think Rebecca at the very back, you're the only person I've seen so far who's taken a picture, tagged me in. Right? Take pictures of us. Come and meet us. Tag us in. Any speaker you see who's brilliant, get a picture of that speaker. Tag them on LinkedIn. If you went to Andy Preston's, he's got 30,000 followers. Get a picture of him and tag him in so his followers can see you. Do these things because, say, I went to this summit. It was brilliant. This is what I learned. And tag in your favorite speakers, your favorite authors. Again, this is how you build an audience, and it's how you build a brand on LinkedIn. And again, notice the words I'm using here for selling. Building an audience, building a brand, being human, connecting with people. This is all sales, by the way. All of this is sales. Okay, so what else can you do on LinkedIn? Well, one thing you should do is support your network and promote your network. It's one of the best things you do. Anytime my connections have books coming out, or courses coming out, or they have events coming up, I promote them. Okay? Tomorrow, I strongly recommend go see Andy Preston speak. Friday morning, 9 o'clock, see Daniel Disney speak. Friday morning, 10 o'clock, see Josh King speak on stage 1. These things are important. Promote your friends. Tell everybody about them. Because business is relationships. If you're very busy one day, and just say you're in meetings all day. I haven't posted on LinkedIn today because I'm too busy. But what I did was I spent 20 minutes this morning, and I'll spend 20 minutes tonight liking and commenting on posts I like. And you have to use 5 words or more. This is very important. Don't just go, nice post. Don't just go, cool. Okay? Actually say what you like about the post. But it must be 5 words or more. That is how the LinkedIn algorithm works. And spend 15 to 20 minutes. And if you're busy, I don't want to recommend this, but I know people do it. If you're busy, just when you're sitting in the toilet for 5 minutes, like and comment and post. Seriously, spend time every day doing this. It's very, very important. And lastly, I find lunchtime the best time, but mornings are also very good too. And also, never share posts, ever. They just don't get much engagement. People on LinkedIn want to hear your voice. They want to hear what you have to say. And the great thing about social media is every single person in this room has their own experiences and their own voice. So please keep that in mind. So many people are so nervous that no one's going to care about what they say. I guarantee you if I spoke to every single person here, and I've already met about half this room, everybody is unique and everybody has their own story to tell. Okay, so I've done business posts, I've done charity posts, I've done polls, I've done videos. Now, the fastest way to grow your business on LinkedIn is through personal stories. We lost our cat recently. I grew up with no pets. And a few years ago, I got a dog for my nephew, and I love dogs. I love walking my friends' dogs. But recently, I've got a cat. And our cat was 11 years old when we got it, and sadly it passed away, and I was very upset. I just did a post on LinkedIn to say, my cat's passed away, my daughters are crying, I don't know what to do. If anybody has any advice, please give it to me. And so many people, this post went big, and so many people gave me advice on losing a pet. It was a beautiful post, actually. And people on LinkedIn were so kind and so caring. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you the results, by the way, of personal posts, because I want you to know how good they are and how effective they are. So this is one example of a personal post. Losing a pet or losing somebody you love is a personal post. This was my first post which went viral. And again, I put links on the slides so you can read all these posts and find out why they worked. So please spend time reading them. This post I wrote in lockdown. It's my first ever post which went viral. And I talked about loneliness in lockdown. I talked about the difficulty of connecting with people. I really struggled with loneliness. I struggled with not having a partner. I struggled with the pain of divorce. I struggled with my clients saying, we have no money left, we're sorry. Everything went bad for me in lockdown. And I wrote about it on a very painful level. Just the difficulty of loneliness and the difficulty of having no money. And I was very nervous about posting this because LinkedIn's a business platform. I didn't think anybody would even care. I had to get it out of my system. And what happened was a big surprise. This post went viral. And all of a sudden, hundreds of people commented publicly, but hundreds more contacted me privately to say, oh my God, thank you so much. Or, oh my God, I know exactly how you feel. I'm going through this pain. And what happens when people connect with you? They want to buy from you. And a lot of people have been following me for months without me realizing it. And all of a sudden, they're following me, my content. And all of a sudden, they're reaching out and saying, can we have a talk about LinkedIn training? Can we have a talk about coaching? It's a great way to generate business without even realizing it. And I thought, this is incredible. I must do more personal posts because I'm generating business. And my next post went even bigger. Again, I've got the figures here for you as well, but you can see it on the links as well. 250,000 views, which is huge on a business platform. During lockdown, I hadn't seen my daughter for almost 11 months. She was at university doing her final exams. She hadn't had her vaccinations. My mother and father hadn't had their vaccinations, and flying was just unbearable. I hadn't seen her for almost 11 months. Now, if you're a parent, you don't see your child for 11 months. It is horrible. And my daughter is very shy, and she's an introvert. I mean, she's the opposite of me in everything she does, but she is shy, and she's an introvert. And I met her at the airport in Belfast, and I shook her hand. It was very British. Nice to see you, dear. And I just took her suitcase and I put it in the car. That was it. It was so, because she's an introvert and she's shy. And I wanted to respect her wishes. And I put her trunk in the car, and she put her arms around me and said, Dad, I loved you. And I'm like, whoa. And it was very emotional because she's not said she loved me for years. She's a teenager. Teenagers do not say I love you. They say they hate you, but they never say they love you. And that post, just talking about bonding between a parent and a child. Again, a very simple post. It took about 5 minutes to write. And it went viral. And again, I'm going to show you the results of this in a second. This is like a business and personal post mixed together. My mother's best friend got cancer, unfortunately. She couldn't get an appointment with a hospital. And her friend was trying and trying, but just couldn't get an appointment because the health service in England is going through a very difficult time. So my father says, I will get you an appointment. And he called up every cancer specialist, and 18 doctors later, he got her an appointment. Why? He did it for my mother, because he had a big purpose. And this post was about having a big purpose in life. And again, 700,000 views, thousands of likes, 5,000 likes. I mean, this is huge. And then here's the last one. I spent almost 2 years online dating, which is the worst experience in the world. I mean, it's the worst. I met so many people who were married. I met people whose partners were in prison. I met people who were 20 years older than their profile. I met some of the worst messed up people more messed up than I was. I mean, really, it was difficult. And then finally, I met somebody last Christmas and fell in love. And this post was just about me falling in love, and it reached almost 1 million views. Now, this sounds great. But what are the results? Because ultimately, we are businesses. We operate based on results. So, all these posts I did, I got anywhere from 500 to 50 new followers, which is really big on LinkedIn. Increased branding, built trust quicker, and I became more human. I'm mentioning this a lot because a lot of what you learn today, you're going to implement straight away. But certain things I'm going to teach you, it'll take 3, 4, 5, or 6 attempts, because anytime you learn something new, it takes time, okay? So that's why I repeat things a lot, because they're very important. But all of a sudden, my sales pipeline moved forward, and that was very important. All of a sudden, people started making inquiries about doing business with me, which I wasn't expecting. All of a sudden, you get asked to speak at more events. All of a sudden, people recommend you for business. This is why I encourage you all to think very carefully about personal posts. Now, the biggest objection I get to this is women saying, my personal life is my personal life. I will never talk about my kids. I will never talk about my personal life because it's nobody's business. And I completely respect that. I completely respect that. I would never tell you to do something you don't want to do. All I'm doing is sharing results that work on LinkedIn. It's up to you if you want to do it. And the second thing is, you don't have to share every scar. You don't have to share all your pain. I did, but you don't have to do that. You can just talk about the struggles you're going through in life. People get struggles. Right now, I've seen a lot of people losing jobs, unfortunately. And they're posting it on LinkedIn saying, I've lost my job, I can't believe it, it's my first job I've lost. And so many people are coming to help them and support them. That's what LinkedIn is. It's not just a place to sell, it's a place to grow your brand, it's a place to meet other people and find work as well. There's so many great things about LinkedIn, but people aren't using it properly. Now, last part here is the selling part. When you connect with anybody on LinkedIn, you can send something generic or you can send something personalized. Always, always, always send something personalized. Always give somebody a reason why. I reject messages unless they have personal invites. And again, I spoke at the beginning about standing out. You want to stand out? Send a personalized invite because most people don't do it. Okay? And that's how you do it. It's very, very simple. You send a personalized invite, add a note. And you can talk about posts they have done. You can talk about their website. You can talk about what you have in common. But you have to give somebody a reason to connect with you. The reason cannot be, I want to sell my chartered yachts to you, okay? You have to give people a reason why to connect with you, all right? And again, I put all these examples in the slides for you as well. Now, the biggest complaint people have about LinkedIn is the amount of spam you get. You get spam from everybody. These are examples of messages I get every day. People saying hello and nothing else. People saying, do you want to generate sales on LinkedIn? This is what I do for a living. People saying, let me tell you about what I do. Nobody cares about what you do. People only care about how you can help them. People saying, let's have a 1-hour meeting, even though I've never spoken to them in my life. And people saying, I've just endorsed you, can you endorse me? Okay? So, a very simple rule to sales in any medium is this. Value first, selling second. That is basic sales. Sales is helping other people. Sales is helping your customers win. Sales is helping others succeed. Sales is never about you. I'm going to take anything away from this, that's the biggest takeaway. So, one thing you should be thinking about as well, the customers you have on LinkedIn, you should be thinking, who do they know that I can do business with? So as well as asking for testimonials, one thing everybody should be doing is speaking to their customers regularly. And asking your customers, are you happy with the service I'm offering you? Am I doing a good job? I am? Fantastic. Who else do you think that you know could benefit from my services? Not who can you introduce me to get business from, but who else do you know that could benefit from my services? It's a very different question. Okay? And again, these are simple words, simple phrases you can use that make a big difference in business. Okay? Now, the two biggest things on LinkedIn right now is video and voice notes. And this has been consistent for 12 months. How many people here are introverts and a bit shy in general? Oh, half the room. Okay. So, in that case, this is perfect for you. These are called voice notes. So, you go to somebody's profile, you click message. And instead of typing a message, you hold this button down and you speak. You have 60 seconds. This gets 5 times better response than voicemail. Because your energy, your enthusiasm, your passion, everything comes across so much better on a voice note. Me, I send videos. I live in Ireland, so I go to the countryside, I shoot videos. Nobody shoots videos in the countryside. So again, it helps you stand out. It's a brilliant way to sell. You'll have more success using video and voice notes, and quite recently WhatsApp, than you ever will trying to message somebody on LinkedIn. So please keep that in mind. You want to stand out, use video, use voice notes, use WhatsApp. It's a fantastic way to connect with people. So, finally, every post you have should have 3 to 5 hashtags. It can be yachting. It can be chartering. It can be anything that you're talking about between 3 and 5, not 1. Some people put 10, 20, 30 hashtags. No, 30 hashtags is Instagram. LinkedIn is between 3 and 5. Don't tag people you don't know without their permission. Always have a headline. A lot of people ask, how much should be business, how much should be personal? I work to 80-20. So every 4 posts I do is business and 1 post is personal. And a lot of people say to me, what's the one thing I should do? There is no one thing, okay? Everything I've taught you today is really, really important. And the only way you're going to make a difference is by taking action. Okay, how to approach somebody new in the chartering industry who you do not know. Because I've been asking a lot of you what your biggest challenges are. And apart from using LinkedIn, this is a big problem. How do we approach somebody new? Now, the most common thing to do is to email them, which is boring, it's unoriginal. This is a much better way of doing things. It's taken me many, many months to master this. So, on the Monday, I would like and comment on one of their posts on LinkedIn. On the Tuesday or the Wednesday, depending how often they post, I would like and comment on their post again. Then, I would send a personalized invite. And a few days later, I'll like and comment. And notice, I'm not selling my product. I'm not selling my services. I'm not saying, let's have a meeting. I'm giving value, value, value. Because I'm helping people out. Sales is helping people. And then a few days after that, not the next day, but a few days after that, I'll leave a voice note. And then if I don't hear anything, I will try a video. And a few days after that, I'll like and comment on their post. Now, if I still get no reaction, which sometimes happens because sales, everybody is different. And not everybody is going to reply to you. Try a different platform. Try email a week later. Or try picking up the phone. Or try meeting them at a networking event. Or try giving some extra value. But don't just keep messaging and messaging and messaging over and over and over again. Okay? Business, the most successful business, is multi-platform. Okay? Now, what do you say to people? Because it's very easy for me to say, shoot a video, make a voice note, but what do you say to people? I've just given you examples of what I say. So, I've been liking and commenting on your posts because they connect with me. Now, if they're not on LinkedIn, you can say, I like the blogs on your website, or I like the videos you do on your website, or talk about them. I can't sell anything to you because I have no idea what you want. That's very important. I can't sell to you because I have no idea what you want. In fact, we may not even be the right fit. And what this does is, it lowers the person's defenses, and it buys you a bit of time. That's all it does. It lowers their defenses because you're not going to sell to them, and it buys them a bit of time. And if you can tell me the 2 biggest challenges you're facing, I'll be happy to recommend solutions. So there's no hard sell, but you're offering the person value and you're communicating with them in a really different way that nobody else is doing. I guarantee you, none of your competitors are doing this. Now, if clients don't reply to you, what do? You promote them on social media, promote them on LinkedIn, share valuable insight with them, meet them at networking events. There's so many things you can do to help your customers because customers are busy. And sometimes they're just too busy to reply to you. Sometimes they don't know you. Sometimes you haven't built enough trust. There's all kinds of reasons why. And this is very important. Don't give up. Most people contact once and then give up. It takes between 6 to 12 attempts to do business with somebody, sometimes even longer. Okay? Do not give up. Most people give up. 90% of people give up after trying once. These are links which are in my slides. I'm not sure the slides are allowed to be sent out, by the way. But if they are, my links are here. And if they're not sent out, just contact me on LinkedIn and I'll find a way to send you the slides, okay? Not the slides. I'll find you a way to send the links to the articles. A very easy way to keep learning. I'm not very big on YouTube. But if you go to YouTube and you type in Everybody Works in Sales, there's about 100 videos there. Just subscribe. It's free of charge. I don't even need your email address. It's just there's 100 videos there on LinkedIn, on sales, on mindset. It will help you. And that's a bit about one of the books I've written, and that's about my book. Oh, that was about Tony Robbins. That was great. That's another book I've written, which again, you'll find these on Amazon. They're just learning resources for you. And that is fantastic. What questions do you have for me, please? Yes.
So at one slide you Thank you. And thank you, by the way. That was
Pleasure.
very insightful.
Thank
so
you.
one slide you said never share a post. Now there are, in my opinion, or in my knowledge, there are two ways of sharing a post. One is just repost, which is what I imagine you say don't do.
Yeah.
And the other one is share a post with your comments on it.
Yeah.
Is that also bad?
Yes. I'll tell you why. Because they don't get much engagement. A lot of people just click the share button because it's easy. That's it. It's very easy. But that's not the right thing to do. What I recommend you doing, if you really like a post, a lot of people share company posts, for example. So instead of sharing a company post, just copy and paste the company post, if it's your company, and talk about it in your words. I don't want to hear your company. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear what you have to say. That is how you build a following, and it's how you build a brand on LinkedIn. You don't do it by just going, share.
I imagine it's unless you've already built a network within that industry, a deep network.
No, not at all. Everybody starts somewhere. Look, 4 years ago, I was a nobody. A complete nobody. And now I've got 25,000 followers, which on LinkedIn is huge. But I went from being a nobody, and I was struggling, and I was doing sales posts. Why aren't people liking this for it? It took me a while to understand it. And what took me from here up to here was never sharing posts. They just don't work. People want to hear your voice, and they want to hear your opinions. That's very, very important. So please don't share. I want to hear what you have to say.
Thanks.
Absolute pleasure.
It was wonderful. I would really like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
And I have, technically speaking, two questions.
That's fine.
One of them is, you mentioned that 4 years ago you were nobody. Hard to believe, but okay, I trust you. And how did you deal with imposter syndrome? That's number one. And number two is, people constantly mention algorithm.
Yep.
Algorithm keeps changing. I feel as if what you've just said would really function. It's universal. It will function no matter what. However, how attentive should we be to algorithm?
That second question is brilliant. Now, the algorithm does change every few months. Everything I've given you here was updated 3 weeks ago. So it's very up to date. And I looked over these slides over lunch. I didn't change a single slide. Not because I didn't want to, but because there's nothing to change. Everything I've taught you there are things that I have used to grow my business, but more importantly, my clients have used to grow their business. And I say my clients, some of my clients are business owners, but a lot of my clients work for other people. And they use these same ways of doing business. So that's in terms of that. In terms of imposter syndrome, it's natural to be insecure when you're posting. Of course it is at the beginning. And the way you overcome it is this. Nobody is judging you as much as you're judging yourself. This is very important. You know, when I look at myself in video, the first 30 or 40 videos, I'm like, oh my God, look at the size. I got my big bald head, my big nose, my big ears. I look like Shrek. This is terrible. I just didn't like what I saw. But here's the thing. Nobody else cared. All people care about is how much value are you giving them and how are you helping them. That's all they care about, really. You're only judging yourself. So you might look at yourself and think, oh my God, look at my beard, look at my glasses, look at my hairstyle. Nobody cares. All they care about is how much value are you giving them. That's all they care about, really. No problem at all. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Do you use a premium LinkedIn, and why yes, why not?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Do you use premium LinkedIn account, and why yes or why not?
I do use LinkedIn Premium for two reasons. A lot of people look at my profile, but they don't often connect with me. And if that person's job title is business owner or head of sales, I want to connect with them. Because often people will look at my profile and they're about to connect with me, but then they get a phone call or an email, or they have a meeting, or they forget, or it's lunchtime. And there's so many things that distract people. So I often look at who's looking at my profile. I'll look at their profile, and I think if it's of interest to me, I will send a personalized invite. I don't just say, thank you for looking at my profile. I will say, thank you for looking at my profile. I see you've commented in this post, or I see you've written this, or I see your business does this, or I see you're based in Hamburg. I connected with somebody this morning who looked at my profile, and he's a business owner. He's based in Hamburg. I worked in Hamburg 5 years in the shipping industry. By the way, you've got to check out the Vietnamese district. The food is unbelievable. And he came back to me in 10 minutes. Oh, God, I love the Vietnamese district. And all of a sudden, for a few minutes, we talked about Vietnamese food in Germany. And we have a meeting set up next week to talk about potentially doing some coaching with him. That's all. I don't know if I'll get business from this, but it's a good way of doing business with somebody. And the second thing you can do with LinkedIn Premium is you can have more searches. You can do more searches for people. I don't really use that function, but some people do. And the third thing is you get a chance to send messages directly to people as well. You get about 30 messages a month, roughly. Now, a lot of people choose LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn Sales Navigator so they can message all these people. And my advice to you is this. It doesn't matter about LinkedIn Premium yet. It doesn't matter about Sales Navigator yet. Get the basics of LinkedIn right. That is way more important. And once you get the basics right, then you can go and use Premium and LinkedIn Navigator and anything else that you want. But please get the basics right first. Everybody wants like the magic bullet or the golden nuggets. Forget that. Get the basics right. It's much better for you, okay? Pleasure. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for your really useful and wonderful presentation. I also have what I hope is 2 questions.
That's okay.
One is very simple. You talked a lot about the variety and quality of content. How about frequency? How much is it important, and can you share some insights on that? Mm-hmm. And second part of the question, I'll speak from my personal experience. I speak because of my business with a lot of people. I personally get a lot of quality feedback from them, and I have maybe 2 recommendations.
Okay.
What advice would you give me?
Brilliant. Okay. So the first question was frequency. You do not have to post every day on LinkedIn. A lot of people think they do. My advice is start doing twice a week, and then start doing 3 times a week. And if you have time, do 4 days a week. But you don't have to be, I only post 4 days a week now. Because I'm running a business, I'm speaking in Croatia, I'm doing things, I'm traveling around the world, I got a family, I'm doing my charity work. I haven't got time to post 7 days a week, or even 6 days a week. Sometimes not even 5 days a week. So start off twice a week, then 3, then 4. Do everything in steps, it's easier. In terms of recommendations, you're getting good feedback. Do you ask for recommendations or LinkedIn testimonials? What do you ask for? Tell me.
Well, actually, I didn't ask.
You didn't ask. Okay. How do you think you should ask then? That's a good question for me to ask. Now I'm being a coach. How do you think you should ask for a testimonial?
Politely.
Okay, that was a very smart answer. Now, what words do you think you should use?
I'm completely, my head is blank, so
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay, so here's what I recommend you do when you want a testimonial from anybody. Ask them, what has it been like working with me? And take a note of what they say. Have I delivered everything I promised to you? And take a note of what they say. Have I over-delivered to you in any way? Because with every client you do, you don't just deliver what you're supposed to, you always over-deliver. And then you read back what they've said to you. So just to be clear, I've done this, I've over-delivered to you. Does that all make sense? Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm sure you know that testimonials really do matter to businesses. Would it be okay if I just typed this up to you and sent this to you as a LinkedIn recommendation? And most people will say yes. Half of them will forget a week later, in which case it's very important you follow up. Because at least half the people who promise me stuff forget, and I have to follow up because people are busy and more important stuff happens. But remind them of the good work you've done after you've asked that question. Have I delivered? Have I been of service? Have I been useful? Have I over-delivered? Remind them and send it as a LinkedIn recommendation. And you want to make sure your last recommendation wasn't 2015, 2016. It's very important you get some that say November 2022, December 2022. Yes? Marino, you did this. What does that mean? We're done, sorry. Because you stood like this and you walked off. I don't know what that means. Okay, so let me, if you don't mind, let me get a selfie before we go, because I'm going to put this on social media, as you'd expect, okay? So, 1, 2, 3. Everybody, if I haven't answered your questions, come and see me during the break. Thank you so much for your time.